My name is Robert Monroe. In addition to being the co-founder of MD Medical Spa and Wellness Center, the MD standing for Monroe Downey, I'm also the pastor of the Humanitarian Church and owner of the Humanitarian Companies. Dr. Catherine Downey, my significant other, love of my life, and partner, known as Kate, you'll hear from momentarily, is now in hiding due to our involvement in the medical marijuana business in Massachusetts and the attacks that we endured because of being involved in it. My responsibilities as MD Medical were operating the front of the house, and Kate's was operating the back. Meaning that I found all the offices, negotiated all the leases, found and purchased and picked up all the equipment, and found and was responsible for all the marketing that brought in all the patients. Additionally, I developed the agreements and forms and met each patient, helped them fill out the forms and agreements, took their payment and identification, while Kate took over everything to do with medical. She would handle the exam, handle the follow-up, handle the paperwork, handle the meeting, and together we developed a wonderful, thriving business in full compliance with the state regulations. We had a wonderful life. We even had plans to marry. The reason I'm sharing this with you today is to inform you, the general public, about the issues in regards to supporting the legalization of marijuana in the Commonwealth and the difficulties therein. First and foremost, you should know, unless the government supports the legislation, they will act in opposition to the voters' will as proven by the Department of Public Health and the Board of Medicine and the Governor of Massachusetts in their actions against Dr. Downey, MD Medical, and me. As such, even if the legislation passes, you can be assured that wrongful prosecution and persecution from the state will continue, as evidenced by their actions within the MMJ program to date. One such possibility of wrongful prosecution you will see will be an increase of OUI arrests. Marijuana stays in the person's system for 30 days and will show up in the mandated blood test if there is an accident causing injury. If you refuse to take the test, you lose your right to operate for a vehicle for a year. This you can be assured of happening on a large scale because the Attorney General opposes this legislation. Even the schools and businesses that oppose the legislation will ostracize the users. If your children are going to school and they use marijuana, you can be assured that the school will oppose it. As far as the use of marijuana is concerned, even a recent study published by McLean Hospital shows that there is detrimental effects to the brain. As it turns out, marijuana in the state of Massachusetts is already illegally legalized by the state through the corrupt MMJ program. Furthermore, MMJ, along with other pharmaceuticals, are not even needed because 80% of the chronic illnesses in our country are directly related to diet and lifestyle. And MMJ and pharmaceuticals treat the symptoms of illness and disease. They do not cure it. All you have to do to avoid symptomatic treatment is to stop the progression or cure your illness and disease. 80% of the illnesses, like diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, obesity, metabolic syndrome, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and even 70% of cancers can be stopped dead in their tracks by switching to the whole food plant-based diet as supported and represented by many physicians today. So, Kate and I have lost our lives, our business, our family, our home. But what I have found is spirituality. And if you want to know how to cure yourself of disease and not be reliant on medicine and extend your life, please just email me at thehumanitarianchurch@hotmail.com or visit our website, www.thehumanitarianchurch.org, and you can learn about it there. Now, if we can change the outcome of your health and your family's health, then maybe our sacrifice, our losses, will not be in vain. Imagine living without the fear of illness and disease and living 20 to 30 years longer than expected as a healthy, productive member of society. Please consider that, so that our losses will have some benefit to the community. For that, I hope and pray that you'll consider the whole food plant-based diet. Whether it's through me, the internet, we'll be there to support you if you choose to come to us and look for help. This helps the animals. It helps the environment. It helps the world. It's a change that's needed. It's a change that's coming. You can either ride that wave, or you can stay sick and ill and reliant upon medicine, and that would be a shame. Please. We've given a lot, more than you can imagine. Please consider switching that diet. You will not regret it.
My name is Catherine G. Soon Downey. I am a licensed physician in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I am the owner and medical director of MD Medical Spa and Wellness Center. I opened this practice 2.5 years back in hopes to help people find wellness in every sense of the word, be it mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional. Even though I'd been trained as a conventional pathologist, I felt compelled to explore more the natural side. I believe in just being a humanitarian and letting people be, and having safe therapies and not be so toxic. So in order for a patient to be certified for the medical use of marijuana at MD Medical, each and every patient goes through a very stringent process, which is in full compliance with the Department of Public Health rules and regulations. Despite the stringent process, I do believe the patients truly benefit from it because they regard it as a true medicine, and I regard it as a true medicine, and I educate them as so. This is not to be used recreationally. These are patients that are chronically ill, and some of them terminally ill, and because of it, we have lives on the line. And the AMA just came out and said that they recommend cannabis therapy with chemotherapy because their patients can withstand and tolerate the toxic side effects of chemotherapy. And the fact that the VA Medical Center is now offering it to their veterans for their PTSD, depression, and other long list of ailments, that's a big statement by the government to say, for our soldiers and our U.S. war heroes, we're offering you this medication because the science has shown it will help you. But the problem is the Department of Public Health, the way that the program is written is they have to be self-sustaining financially, which means they do not get a state handout for their operations. And up until this fall, they have been operating in the red. And it is estimated or projected that this fall will be the first time that they are operating in the black. But the problem is they're doing this through fraudulent means and knowingly fraudulent means by allowing fraudulent companies who are making basically pseudo patients into drug dealers, and they're doing it so they can have these multi-million-dollar revenues annually so that they can be self-sustaining, because otherwise they would have to shut the door this year. I reported the fraudulent actions not only because I am a mandatory reporter as a physician, but I did so because I did not feel it right that these fraudulent companies were operating and providing substandard care, medical care, to the patients of the Commonwealth. And they were undermining the entire program, the Humanitarian Act of the Medical Use of Marijuana program, and not providing ample education and guidance for their patients in terms of the use of the Schedule I class drug, cannabis. Because of my reporting to not only the Department of Public Health, but also the State Attorney General Maura Healey, I have been attacked and attacked and attacked. I have been chased through 13 states. I have had to flee safe haven after safe haven because of attackers coming after me and my family because of the fraudulently operating CannaCare industry, and mainly through the use of their sponsored WEMF radio station and Mike Crawford, who used their radio station and online media presence to incite upwards of 10,400 so-called patients who are very angry with me and want me gone. I have reported their actions not only to the state police, who did send them a cease and desist phone call, which they did remove their inciting and instigating post and radio shows against me and my family. Unfortunately, the 10,400 patients are still very angry, as well as the state of Massachusetts, and I have not been able to return to my home, my practice, and my state of residence, Massachusetts. I have asked the Supreme Judicial Court for protection order under the Whistleblower Act and its statutes, and I was denied protection. I came to Washington, D.C. originally with my family in a fleeing state, originally to seek asylum, as I am a Korean orphan who was adopted through the Parkhurst Christian Church and Holt International Adoption Agency through the guise of adoption, which essentially was trafficking, exploitation, and abuse. I have endured horrific abuse before I even was introduced to the Medical Licensing Board and the Department of Public Health. So I know abuse when I see it, and when I feel it, and when I'm experiencing it. I was able to flee that life and essentially become an orphan again. But I did find solace in providing medical care, and true medical care, to the patients of Commonwealth. I have upwards of 400 patients who I see regularly, and I help through the efforts with humanitarian companies. And Rob Monroe, we feed people for free. We feed people healthy, nutritious food, and our goal is to help them feed them back to health. In addition to the medical marijuana services that I provide, I have essentially placed a target on my back unknowingly because of the fraudulently operating company Canacare and their financial beneficiary, the Department of Public Health. The Attorney General has refused to help me and has actually incited attacks against me, and I am not safe to return to Massachusetts. I have had to lose everything. I have lost my home. I've lost my medical practice. My family and I have had to flee our homes, and we cannot return because there are still 10,000 plus so-called patients angry at me and don't want me back. At this point in time, I don't know where I stand. I just wanted my story told. I am the whistleblower in terms of the fraudulently operating Canacare operation, which is also known as Medival Incorporated, which through their fraudulent actions and operations with the DPH ended in the wrongful death of State Trooper Thomas Clardy, who has left behind 7 orphan children and a widowed wife. As I said before, I am a mandatory reporter, but I felt compelled to come forward and report these actions because this is not what's supposed to happen, not only in the United States of America, but especially within the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the medical mecca of the United States. I did what I was supposed to, and for that I have been attacked, harassed, persecuted, oppressed, and I have lost everything.